Welcome to the Operation Husky pre-deployment phase episode, basically Husky episode 0, where we will be looking at and then you'll be planning where you'd like your troops to embark in our attempt to capture Husky, or capture Sicily. This is Operation Husky. The two main objectives, Syracuse and Messina. They are the eastern area of the island, but if we can capture some bonus objectives, Licata, Marsala, Trapani, as well as the Catania airfield and Palermo, we can get more supplies. We start with 50% supply. That means every time that someone is not on a main supply route, there's like a 50% chance that they will get supplies or not. So we'll want to get that as close to 100% as possible. Now we have two ways to land troops. We have airborne, which we can use with elite units. Currently no one has moved any of their infantry up to elite status to qualify as airborne, but there are some units that qualify for that. You probably know who you are and what units would potentially qualify for that upgrade. All the other units will be able to land with the landing craft. Now, landing craft can land on any beachhead where there's this sort of white sand. So we have Syracuse, troops that could try and capture Syracuse. We also have some beaches up here, although the further away from our main, like Syracuse and this area, that's where we're going to be able to bring supplies ashore. Now, we do also have some extra... They're called these things, theater things. These are not what we have currently, but what we do have is... we have 8 air attacks left, and we can bring in more to help us control the air and have air power on our side. We also can, it's very expensive, bring in air supplies. Now it's 10 supplies per every 1 air supply. And air attacks are 40 supply for 20 air attacks. So it's a much better deal for like air attacks. But we could bring in some air supplies. So if we wanted to, say, land some troops here, it'd be very dangerous. But at least we'd be able to take these key supply areas. We could then try to really expensively drop in air supplies from the air, keep our troops secured there. If we don't want to try something as crazy as that, we can just follow the historical route, landing troops in this bay here, as well as to take Syracuse, then using the main lines of supply to push up towards Messina, as well as then pushing west towards these objectives. We will hold ourselves to the same time limits as the base scenario. So we'll have 2 turns to take Syracuse, we'll have 3 turns to take Licata, and then 7 to take Marsala and Trapani, as well as 4 turns to take Catania, and 7 to take Palermo, and then 12 to take Messina. So it's going to be tough. Now, of course, if we fail all the objectives, then we get to, I guess, kind of go on a new route. But I'm hoping we will succeed. So, in order to participate in Operation Husky, you will need to opt in if you are an existing officer with troops. You'll have to opt in and sort of give a general idea of what objectives you'd like to have your forces focus on. I guess we could also try to land troops up here, but that'd be pretty crazy. Like, that's personally, I believe, going with the numbers that we have, it's probably best to go after Syracuse and Licata. In the same way that the base scenario has, you have the British 8th Army landing here and the American 7th here. Now, we're all British with our troops, Commonwealth troops, but it's the same idea. Land armor, use them to punch deeper inland. Maybe have some armored units land here to try and push west. Although I guess we'll just have 1 HQ. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. These blown bridges are gonna be trouble for supply. Ooh, okay, we'll also have some supply coming in here and here. So basically we have 2 main beachheads that we can try to establish. And if we want to land in airborne, if we want to train up some airborne, we have those as options. But if we're feeling crazy, I personally have a lot of supply. I could try to have my units do this crazy beach landing over in the west here, and then try to keep my units supplied by air, so that we don't have to worry about trying to capture these points. My units would do that. I've got, I guess, 2. I think I can bring in a 3rd because I'm a captain. It's gonna be dicey. So landing craft will be the main way. Those are also a bit expensive, so that's why you have to opt in. The idea is per paradrop, so any unit that can qualify as an airborne unit, it's going to be 30 supply to put them in the paradrop ships or planes, I mean, and drop them behind enemy lines. And it's 30 supply per landing craft as well. This is an ambitious and audacious move. The objective of Operation Husky is no less than the overthrow of the Italian regime itself. Here's the full briefing. For the first time since the evacuation of Greece in the April of 1941, Western Allied forces are returning to mainland Europe in force. Operation Husky, the invasion of Sicily, is about to commence. The skies above the island have been cleared, and the Allied invasion fleets close in on the beaches. So our forces lay off the shores of Sicily, and once the beaches are secured, then we can advance on our main objectives, Messenia. We can have forces to provide flanking support, probably. German units constitute a large threat until our forces have a secure foothold. And we will have to land 1 unit by sea before our paratroopers can drop. Okay. So that's also good to know. So we couldn't do all paratroopers. We'll have to do, not that we are in a position to do that, but we'll want to probably have a sizable landing force initially, and then be able to bring reinforcements in to these landing areas as well. So we'll want to coordinate with each other, we'll want to communicate, we'll want to plan, and then I think we can pull this off. Tunis was just a fantastic operation, and so I think we're ready for Operation Husky. So that is the overview. If you have questions, I can answer them down in the comments. If you're brand new and you want to enlist, then definitely enlist down below, as well as if you are an existing officer, you can bring in new troops. I think everyone has an open slot. I'm pretty sure almost every officer. So that's good. We can bring in new, fresh troops to help in this most ambitious and audacious of operations. Worst case scenario, hopefully, I guess the worst case scenario is we fail to make a landing and it's just a disaster and we see where we go from there. But I think we can make a steady landing, and worst case scenario, we just take a little bit longer to take these objectives, which means we'd just be fighting with a little bit less supply than normal. But yeah, there's our briefing. Let's get it done. Alright, and if you like the sound of having direct control over the events of stuff, then be sure to check out twitch.tv/SirSquire, as well as liking and subscribing and hitting the little notification bar for YouTube content. Our main 99% of everything that we do is over on Twitch. Alright, good luck, commanders. We're gonna need it.